Who Wrote This Shit is a comedy podcast where three friends talk about bad books. Opinions are subjective, but if we hurt anyone's feelings, we apologize in advance. Also, there are times where we talk about graphic and explicit content. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Who Wrote This Shit, where we read bad books so you don't have to. Spoilers. I'm Erin.
I'm Hope.
I'm Juniper.
Today we are reading Save the Pearls, Finding Eden Part 1 by Victoria Foyt. This book has 2.5 stars on Goodreads and 2.9 on Amazon. Do you want to take it over, Hope?
Hold on. Oh, it's so scary.
Wow.
What? Oh no.
He hated it. So, the best worst review was by John Egbert. It was a 1-star. And it just says there was an edit in 2012. And it's a quote from Victoria Foyt. Conceivably, if the book had not reached the African American community of readers, if such a category still exists, perhaps there might be some backlash. And then underneath the quote, John Egbert says, "She did not just go there. She did not just go there." And then the reviews underneath it are like too blurry for me to be able to read.
That I still don't know what that means. That whole African American community of readers, if that exists.
Well, conceivably, it means
Oh no.
that she doesn't think black people read. Conceivably.
Conceivably, only in their history did they read.
Yeah.
Okay.
If a thing still exists. So Victoria Foyt is an American author, novelist, screenwriter, and actress best known for her books The Virtual Life of Lexi Diamond and Save the Pearls, Revealing Eden. Foyt has written articles for magazines such as Harper's Bazaar, Oh at Home, and Film and Video.
Do you guys hear? She's growling. There's something outside that's freaking her out.
No. I can't.
You okay? You okay?
So
Okay, she
Victoria
stopped.
Foyt has written 4 books, according to Wiki, which I presume are the two for the Virtual Life of Lexi Diamond and then 2 for Revealing Eden, or Save the Pearls. And the drama that surrounded the book was well documented back in the day. There was blackface, prejudicial stereotypes, and the use of coal and pearl. So, as you can imagine, coal was used to refer to the black people in the book, and then pearl was used to talk about the white people. And the Coles were the majority, and they oppressed the Pearls, which were the minority. There was a lot of sexism in the book, like how women only have until 18 to procreate, and men have until they're 25 for whatever reason. And had, like I said earlier, the weird white people are so oppressed trope. And they had some really tone-deaf sexual assault sections in this book, which were exhausting. Specifically where she wrote that getting her little bracelet thing, no, her
Her
little
leg
earring
band.
thing, Yeah, her life band ripped off was worse than rape, which, you know,
Yeah, there was
that
a
was a that was a
Not-
choice. And Foyt responded to criticism by stating that she had not intended the book's contents or its advertising to be racist, and that her intention was to write a novel addressing the issue of racism, interracial love, and global warming.
Yeah.
Big oof, guys.
it
Oofs all
most
around.
definitely did not come off like that. Oh,
No.
did I tell you guys when I was looking up the cover to put this on our Instagram page? There is a short film that someone made, and the actress is in blackface, and she's wearing like a black wig, and she's acting the part of Eden.
Was that part of the advertising they were talking about?
I have no idea, but I
Because
couldn't
they
find.
said, because remember how so when we looked up the Sand Dollar Publishing, they said that they used innovative video advertising for their books. Was that maybe some sort of like video advertisement for her book?
It might have been, but I could not find the video because there's just screenshots. Let me see if I can find you guys one real quick so you can see what I'm talking about, cuz it's the third picture.
Oh no!
Yeah, I feel bad.
Oh no!
Oh god, and that woman who played the role of Eden, that is on the internet.
It's not, and I guess people have like cosplayed as this because there are more pictures.
Oh no! Wait a second. I think I found the video.
Did you? I could not find it.
It's okay. It's a music video.
Oh god.
Wait, hold on. Just kidding. It's not it. It's not it. That's not what it is. It's
Here-
about high school.
Here's a more terrifying picture from the.
Oh no!
Yeah.
The worst part is it
Right.
looks
It's supposed to be
makeup.
like a. It's just like a spray tan kind of coating on him, right?
Yeah,
But I feel.
and that is one terrible wig.
Yeah, I feel real bad for the actress, but then again, I don't know what Victoria Foyt looks like. It could.
She's just your average looking Caucasian lady.
Oh yeah, she is. Well, anyways, when I just thought I'd bring that up because I saw that and I couldn't find the video.
All the videos that I'm looking at, they have thumbnails, but the videos
Oh yeah,
have been taken
I'm not
down.
surprised.
Yeah, me either.
No,
Anything else?
that's enough.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
enough.
Alright, well, let's talk about the book cover for a hot sec. It's just as bad. It's a white girl, half of her face is dark, one eye is brown, the other is blue, half of her hair is black, the other half is light blonde, half of her face is colored dark, the luster, they call it, and then half of it is her natural white, and then behind her is just a pair of green jaguar eyes. And then if you take off the paper part, there's gold jaguar eyes engraved or whatever. Well, it's engraved on the hardcover. And then also not centered for whatever fucking reason. They wanted to make everybody go crazy. So the back of the book says Eden Newman must mate before her 18th birthday in 6 months, or she'll be left outside to die in the burning world. But who will pick up her mate option when she's cursed with white skin and a tragically low mate rate of 15%? In a post-apocalyptic totalitarian underground world where class and beauty are defined by resistance to an overheated environment, Eden's coloring brands her as a member of the lowest class, a weak and ugly pearl. If only she could mate with a dark-skinned Cole from the ruling class, She'll be safe. Just maybe when Cole sees the real Eden and will be her salvation, her coworker Jamal has begun
Was that a
secretly dating
sentence?
her.
Yeah, that made no
That
sense.
sounded weird. I think part of this
Oh,
was
no.
cut out because it chopped. Yeah, I think that's not correct. But we will go with it.
It's about as coherent
See
as the
here,
book
Eden?
was, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eden and will be her salvation. Her coworker Jamal has begun secretly dating her, but when Eden unwittingly compromises her father's secret biological experiment, she finds herself in the eye of the storm and thrown into the last area of rainforest, a strange and dangerous land. Eden must fight to save her father, who may be humanity's last hope. While standing up to a powerful beast man, she believes her is her enemy despite her overwhelming attraction. Eden must change to survive, but only if she can redefine her ideas of beauty and of love, along with a little help from her adopted aunt, Emily Dickinson.
Yep.
Emily Dickinson would be rolling in her motherfucking grave. Like, can you imagine? Emily Dickinson was such a, progressive and modern woman of her time. Like, now, imagine what Emily Dickinson would think now.
Well, she'd have the wherewithal to know this is a
Yeah.
bad idea.
And she sure as shit wouldn't be Eden's aunt.
No. Oh, Juniper, before we move on to what actually happens in the book, which is pretty fucking close, I think, to that, but you and I got signed copies
Yes.
to
Yes, we sure did.
on the book. Hope got left out.
I did.
She only got the
I
library
got
book.
a reject library book.
Yeah, she did. And I also got a little postcard that I used as my bookmark and it says, "Save the pearls. Find out why all pearls need a mate. Get your copy before it's too late."
Why do all pearls need a mate? Is it just because they're gonna fucking airlock them if they don't?
Yeah, that's
Was that
basically it? Because basically female pearls are the lowest on the totem pole.
Well, basically what it sounds like is if you can't have a baby, then you are of no worth to them. Despite the
Right.
fact that they have a finite amount of resources to begin with. So the fact that they have a mate or don't have a mate, I guess, and they won't be having children kind of seems like a good thing.
But they gotta keep the species going, you know?
Yeah, well, the other ones can do it.
The book follows Eden, a young white female who has been raised in a post-apocalyptic environment. A solar burst has decimated nearly all life on Earth, forcing everyone to live underground to avoid the heat, the world's name for skin cancer. The underground society relies on a racial system where the darker your skin naturally is, the more likely your rate of survival is. Each race is given a name for their station, with whites being named pearls and blacks being named coals. Eden spends most of her days in a research assistant position, which she achieved due to her father's importance to a secret assignment, and most of her nights hoping that her boyfriend Jamal will one day choose her as his mate.
So that she doesn't get airlocked.
Yeah, because she doesn't want to get airlocked.
Also, let's not forget that there's more than just coals and pearls. There's also ambers and tiger eyes and cottons.
Yep.
And ambers are Asians. And tiger eyes are Latinos and Latinx, and cottons are
Albinos.
which are the lowest of the low, according to Victoria Foyt.
Yeah, they described during one thing where an albino was found and they burned it alive at the stake.
This book is trash.
I know. It's so bad. I had to walk away from the book at that point. She is often at odds with Branford, a rich Cole who has hired her father and occasionally resents the fact that she must wear dark makeup, blackface. Well, it's not makeup. its coating over her body to hide her skin color.
That makes it better.
It's what they call it. They call it coating. And they have to get coated like once a month or something so it doesn't wash off. Eden gets banished to her room because she forgot to send a report to the lead scientist in her group, but she did send it, and so she got framed for not sending it. So the lead scientist didn't send the report to Bramford, and Bramford and Eden's father are working on an experiment where they change the genes in pearls to help them survive the heat. And the night of the experiment, Jamal convinces Eden to escape to go to a dance. He leads her to believe that he's going to ask her to be his mate. Instead what happens is she goes to the meeting place and 2 goons try to attack Eden. And Bramford finds her and saves her from the 2 goons and drags her back to the room where the experiment was going to happen. Also, the 2 test subjects are missing for the experiment for that night. So Bramford volunteers himself as the test subject, and Eden sneaks off and she finds Jamal alone in a room, and she finds out that Jamal is a high-ranked leader in the FFP, which is a terrorist group that's out to destroy the pearls, and him and his group kidnap the 2 test subjects. To escape, Eden hits a button, and the roof above the experiment room breaks open, and then she forces her father and Bramford to escape. Bramford brings Eden and her father to a hidden village in a rainforest which has managed to survive the solar blast, and where he and Eden's father plan to progress further with the experiment, which is where Bramford has to collect something from a jaguar, an anaconda, or a giant fucking snake of some kind, and an eagle, I think. As time passes, Eden slowly falls in love with Bramford. I guess it helps that he saved her from getting eaten by a giant snake.
And that he's sexy.
He's got quivering quads.
Ew. Yeah, he does.
And glistening back muscles.
She is definitely a butt girl. Where she likes to look at guys' butts.
I thought she really enjoyed his legs. She talked about his legs
Oh,
a
no,
lot.
you're right. She's a
Got
leg
legs
girl.
like tree trunks.
She literally said that too. They were like tree trunks.
She likes them sturdy, to hold her up so she can ride his shoulder and shit.
That's what, when I was in undergrad and I would go to the Kibby Dome to work out, there was a dude there that would tell me I had thighs like tree trunks.
Fuck.
No, do you know what that reminds me of? When we were at the Macklemore concert in college and we somehow got into the mosh pit. We didn't know that was the line for the mosh pit, but we got to go in the mosh pit.
Yeah.
And these 2 frat guys put you guys up on their shoulders because they're like, "Can you guys see?"
We were like, no, we
No.
can't. I'm
Because
so
they're just-
short.
I'm 5'2".
And they
Please
just
pick me
just
up.
put you. They're just like, okay, and they're these 2 giant frat dudes.
Yeah, they were
they're
like
like,
at
yoink.
least 6'4".
Yeah. They just okay, here we go, and you guys were 4 times taller than I am. It was pretty funny. Oh, right. Okay. She also discovers his previous relationship with the Pearl, Rebecca, and that he has an albino son with her because him and Rebecca both have the albino gene, and that obviously means you have an albino child.
Clearly.
Yeah, science. Who needs it? Something which is seen as unbearable in that society, which kind of routes back to a riot breaking out when they escape, and there's an albino boy found, and they air it on television where they burn him alive.
And
And he felt uncomfortable. Yeah. The preparations for the next experiment are eventually finished, only for the village to come under attack by Jamal and his 2 goons. And then that group
Don't
is...
forget why.
Oh, right. So she sends out... She got a life band from the pilot's assistant, or the stewardess, and it was thrown in her backpack, and the backpack gets thrown into a river. I guess it survives water just fine. And then she gets the life band and she calls Shen, who is Bramford's bodyguard, but also his half-brother. But instead of Shen coming to save them, Jamal and his 2 goons come and to take her away. And he's completely ugly now because the heat hit the fire from the outside hit Jamal and he caught on fire.
He deserved
He really
it. What a piece
he
of shit.
sent the two goons that tried to assault her at the dance, so he really does deserve it.
So, can I really quick just mention, like, a couple blaring plot holes?
Can I finish the last sentence and then you can?
Yes.
Okay. The group is defeated by the Aztec descendants, and Eden makes the choice to undergo the infusion of animal DNA with Bramford and his son. Okay, done. What are the
So-
glaring plot holes?
Well, first, I'll just talk about the one right off the top of my head. The hierarchy is racially based, and it's based off of whether or not you can how well you can survive in the heat or whatever.
Correct.
We don't know what happened, but we know that the outside world is uninhabitable, and it'll burn you alive. So,
Right.
the basis for the hierarchy is that white folk cannot survive outside as well as their well-melanined counterparts. But Jamal obviously couldn't survive outside. So what's the fucking point of the racial bias at all if it's clear that nobody can survive outside unless you're in that weird Amazonian part of the plot that also doesn't make any sense because the rest of the world is uninhabitable. Why wouldn't the Amazonian part be uninhabitable?
I'll tell you.
The solar
I'll-
flare didn't get that part of the ozone.
Look,
Okay.
I'm no
Only ozone right
Look,
there.
astrophysicist.
okay.
I'm no super smart rocket
Okay.
scientist, but that's not how fucking solar flares
Help.
work.
Hope, to answer your first question to the glaring plot, why Jamal survive? Why the hierarchy? If he's outside, he has a better chance of surviving. But when Flame is shooting at you, okay,
I had to move my leg.
Okay.
I was cramping, but also it disturbed Piper. Oh no.
you are gonna have to get over it. Also,
very
she's the
cute.
cutest dog ever.
Tell that to her, Aaron.
You're gonna
Tell
have
it
to-
to her face.
Let me answer your question. He can survive the outside. He can't survive flames, is what I'm guessing.
You don't think he can survive flames to the face?
No,
Well,
I don't.
Obviously, he did survive flames because he came to get her. So
Yeah, they were able to stitch him together, and he looks like a horrendous monster, I guess.
you're a monster. I guess I misunderstood the whole fight that happened because I thought when they opened the roof that the atmosphere came in, and that's what they were running from.
It did. The heat came in, and then it started like fires.
No, there was fire outside. The fire came from outside.
Oh, well, this
inside.
just tells you how close we were reading.
But
No,
then
it tells you
makes-
how much it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I was gonna say that makes even less sense because if the outside is just fucking flames, then how could anybody, whether or not they have more or less melanin, survive outside? What?
Science.
It doesn't make that whole thing. That's just one big giant plot hole right there that she wrote right into the plot. She walked right into it and just kept going. She went, yeah. That makes sense.
And then the solar flare thing, David and I were talking about it, and he said the Earth is not close enough for the solar flare to like happen at any point in time. So
It would have to
remember-
be a gigantic solar flare, like a super flare.
it would
Yeah.
have it.
Well, remember this
look.
is in the future, and the sun is expanding to the point where it will explode. So,
Right.
I mean, maybe if we want to give her an ounce of benefit
I don't.
of the doubt, maybe what she was going for was that the sun is like unstable or like it's grown, so it's about to go supernova. I'm not sure.
Well,
They should
okay.
just leave the planet. It would make so much more sense to just
Do
go.
they
to
even
Yeah.
have?
I mean, they're gonna sit there
spaceships?
and combine
No,
our
they have, like,
DNA.
airplanes.
You're gonna sit there and combine our DNA with animals, but you're not just gonna hijack the nearest.
GTFO.
Yeah, like Elon
That's a
Musk
good-
get the fuck off the planet.
I didn't think about that the first time we recorded this, but that is a fair
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Like,
I
why go through the effort?
Yeah, I mean, if you can't, like, the earth is literally on fire, except on this small patch of earth in the Amazon forest.
Which makes sense because the Amazon rainforest is the most fucking pillaged rainforest. That makes
So much sense. Yeah,
So-
no, you're right, Juniper. I don't know why I didn't think of that. The
Then-
most pillaged rainforest, of course, is gonna survive.
So then the second like blatant plot hole that I was thinking of was this idea that, so from what I read,
Okay.
us whiteys, there just aren't very many of us in that
Yeah.
future.
us
And
honkies, yeah.
yeah, us honkies, us crackers. If anybody gets pissed off and says that what I'm doing is reverse racism, I kindly
You will kick them in the teeth.
like,
Yes.
okay, yeah, I'm doing a
Reverse
reverse
racism kick to
racism.
the mouth.
Let's do a reverse racism. I'm gonna call myself a honky.
Oh my god.
So,
Oh my
anyways,
God.
when I read it, it sounded like there just weren't very many because they've either been killed off via flames outside, or they don't get anyone interested in them for mating. They get airlocked out into the flames. So, anyways,
Yeah,
there
if
just
they
isn't very
they don't
many of
reach the
them.
age of 18.
So there's an entire organization that just wants to exterminate them? Why? Why are you devoting like that many resources to exterminating people that hardly exist anywhere?
I guess the last time it was either you or Juniper that kind of equated those to the KKK. It's like, why are they spending time and resources to put down a group of people? Like, what is the point?
Well,
And-
so here's what I'm going to say about that. So,
Okay.
yes, I do think that she was trying to equate the two.
Yes.
Do I think that the two are equal? No,
No.
I do not, because
No.
there were people enslaved in the Americas. The KKK was there to maintain a hierarchy and the oppression of enslaved people, right?
Right.
Those same dynamics do not apply to this plot, so it doesn't make any sort of like sense.
No, I agree, and I'm not trying to say like, oh, it's the same thing. It's obviously not. But
I think
I
it was
I think that's what the author was trying to. She was trying to make the two, but I think what the FFP is trying to do, I don't think it's trying to destroy Pearls. I think it's trying to take down the establishment that has been made, and they want to rebuild it how they think it is. So it's
So
just
they-
a terrorist group.
Pay special attention to pearls because
They just have this strong hate for pearls.
So then that makes even less sense.
Right.
Specifically, that
Well, the organization wanted to get rid of pearls, and they
Yeah.
wanted to get rid of people who wanted to give pearls a
Oh, yeah.
chance.
Yeah,
I think it was just a poorly done.
it's a bad comparison to the KKK.
Yeah.
I think
Like-
it was a swing and a miss on her
Yeah, she
part.
definitely
The whole
tried.
book was a swing and a fucking miss.
She definitely tried to do the connect the two, or like what is it called? It's not a juxtaposition, right? When you're saying like this is supposed to be this in real, that's in real life.
No, I was trying to think of I was thinking juxtaposition too, and then I was like, no, it's not juxtaposition. Then I was
I
like,
think
is
it's
it parallel?
supposed to be some
it
sort
I
of
think
an
it's parallel.
allegory. I think it's supposed to be
Or
some
an
sort of an
allegory.
allegory.
Yeah.
I think that she failed miserably.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
she did. Because there's no, in the book, I don't see anything that's like equating the pearls to like slavery. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I
Well,
think
they
So,
have the worst
right,
jobs.
but
They have the
it's-
worst jobs, and they have the like manual labor
right,
jobs.
but that's not. But there's still jobs, right? Like they're still getting paid whether it's fairly or not. But I think she was. I'm gonna sound real bad. I'm just gonna stop there. I think she was trying to do some paralleling, and it
some
didn't work.
parallel parking
Yeah, and
next
just
to the racism.
and just like some of our friends learning how to parallel park, she fucking hit the curb and maybe a fire hydrant.
And then she blew a
Another
tire.
car. Yeah.
She blew a
And she
tire and then she fled the scene. Like,
She did. Okay, what's your
Somebody
third plot
came out
hole?
of the car and they were holding their neck, and she was like, "Peace, bitches."
so we should talk a little bit about the whole reverse oppression idea here.
Okay.
So let's go with Vicky's logic here for a second. That despite the fact
Vicky
that
is who we call it's the author.
yeah, Vicky
just
is
so
the
that didn't
author.
come out of
So
nowhere.
let's just assume that pearls are the lesser form of human because they can't withstand the radiation and heat outside as well as, which also, like, they kept calling it the heat,
Yeah.
but the entire time in the book I was like, doesn't it make more sense that it's like the radiation, but the flames, okay,
They're not smart.
Dude,
They're not
it doesn't
smart.
matter. Instead of just saying white, black, Hispanic, Asian, Latino, she called them pearl, tiger eye. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, the entire, like, when instead of saying motherfucker, she's like Mother Earth, like that, the whole thing. She tried again, a swing and a miss. It sounded bad the entire time. It's like,
Yeah.
you know how people will say instead of oh God, they'll say oh gods, plural.
Or like, or they'll like, or shiitake mushrooms.
I think she was going for something like that, but instead it
Yeah.
was oh earth, and it didn't make any bit of sense because
She was using earth as a curse word.
yeah, why is anyways.
So why?
So we should talk about the whole reversing the oppression thing that she
Okay.
did and
Yep.
how she failed to do it in such a way that she just wrote a racist book.
Well, that was like,
Well, I think
Go ahead,
the
Jennifer.
I think the main issue that I had was that it seemed to me like she thought she had a good excuse to be racist.
Yeah.
Like she thought that this exempt her from the repercussions of blackface or cotton or whatever. Like, just because this was a fictional society, it was okay for her to write these racist things. It's kind of like, you know, when you're younger and you're like listening to music and there's a curse word in it, and you're like, hey, they said a bad word, and your parents are like, well, it's music, it's art. You can do that if it's music and art. And then you're like, oh, well, okay. And so every time that curse word comes up, you like scream out the curse word because it's art.
yeah.
And they're like, you can't do that.
And like, but it's
And you're
music.
like, no, but it's music. And they're like, no, but you're doing that on purpose.
Yeah.
That's
They're
what it
like-
reminds me of.
Well, here's this. We can edit this part out. But I was thinking if she wanted to draw a parallel, I think the story would have been a lot more interesting if it was really flipped. You know what I mean? Where the whites just didn't get like, or the pearls didn't get just the really shit jobs, but like that they were slaves. And
Yeah,
it
because
was
they
and
weren't.
they weren't, and trying to like fight against the oppression that people of color have been fighting against their entire lives. Like if she
Yeah.
really wanted to like flip the racial oppression, she could have done it in a much better way
Yeah.
where
She kind of only
she
went
half-assed
halfway.
it. She
Yeah.
whole-assed the racism and half-assed the oppression.
Yeah, she sure did. Because what exactly was the oppression?
That she
Like,
had
if
to
you-
wear coding to be attractive.
Yeah, so like if you think about it,
Yeah.
like there wasn't actually any oppression to any white people.
So it
Yeah,
it-
there was a lot of like prejudice, I guess you could say, but I think where she failed was that she took the stereotypes of black culture in the United States. She took those stereotypes, she amped them up, and then to kind of get away with the fact that she was just illustrating a bunch of baseless stereotypes, she just said that they were beautiful all the time. Like she's a walking, talking black lady stereotype, but it's considered beautiful in this world, so it's okay that I'm writing some stereotypical racist trash.
You know what I
Yeah.
was
Is kind
you know
of
what I just
what she did.
You know what I just thought of just now is she's writing about an apocalyptic world where people of color are higher than white people. But it's like, oh, I had a thought and I think I just lost it. But it seems like she thinks like the worst thing that could ever happen in an apocalyptic world. Oh, I know what I was going to say. She thinks that if people of color had the option and the position, they would oppress us like they've been oppressed. And I don't know why that just clicked for me. But like in this book, she's saying if they had the power and the position to oppress people, white people, they would.
And they'd
And
be just as bad as we were.
they would be just as shitty as we are still.
Yeah, and I think it's important to remember that reverse racism isn't a
No,
thing.
it's not.
It's not a thing, and people get confused between prejudice and racism. The difference being prejudice, I can be prejudiced against men because they've systemically treated women terribly, but I can't really be a misandrist because I am not a part of the oppressing majority there as far as like male-female dynamics go. And likewise, a person of color cannot be racist against the people who are oppressing them. Racism is a systemic issue, and for it to be systemic, it has to involve oppression. But when people look up racism online, it just says prejudice based on the color of your skin. Well, that's not right. And people refuse to acknowledge the fact that academics for a long time have accepted and written about the fact that racism includes oppression. Therefore, POC cannot be racist against white people. They can be prejudiced against white people. But then again, why are they prejudiced against us? Does it have to do with systemic oppression? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Right? So...
Home run,
The
bitch.
entire fucking point of the book that the POC are racist against white people, the entire premise is garbage to begin with because that's not a fucking thing.
Right.
And yeah, I think that that's a super shitty thing that she's trying to say, that if given the opportunity, POC would definitely oppress everyone else around them. Which also, because a lot of people like to remind us that to sound smart, they're like, well, you know, there was an African slave market back in the day. Remember that? They had slaves, you know, they had a slave trade. Well, but the slave trade that went to the Americas was completely different than the slave trade happening in Africa.
Yeah.
Right.
Two completely different things.
They weren't.
Slaves have been everywhere historically, but
The royal family
When-
sent Columbus to a island because of his war crimes. So yeah, think about that a little bit.
His war
about that.
crimes?
citations needed. They were not happy with Columbus in any sense of the word.
I
Well-
just think that is hilarious because the royal family, as we all know, kind of racist people. But I think it's hilarious that he committed. I mean, the atrocities are not hilarious, but the fact that he committed so many atrocities that the royal family was like, no, stop. We're sending
Yeah.
you to this island because you've been a
like-
bad boy.
And like Europe had the Crusades. Like they have their own marred past. They've done some shit.
Yeah, and I was just listening to a Behind the Bastards episode about the family that stole Malaysia called the Brooke family. And
Are they
you-
related to Brooks
No,
Running?
I don't want to learn anything bad about that company.
because I'm gonna keep throwing my money at them.
I know.
Gonna keep
I
throwing my money at Brooks.
love their running shoes.
They have fantastic running shoes.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like I am walking and running on
Yeah.
air.
And their sports bras are really
Like the little
good.
tiny
But
foot-sized clouds.
what they were talking about was England, like the British like to say, oh well, England, was against the slave trade for a while, and the Robert Evans from Behind the Bastard was like, well, yeah, because they use that to make colonies along other coasts. Like they're like they use that as an excuse to plant themselves in different countries to like protect them from being kidnapped and being taken to different countries.
The United States has
Yes.
no idea what it's like to protect other countries for actually their own interests. No.
Right.
No.
Anyway, I just thought that was kind of interesting.
Well, I knew that you were bringing coffee with you, Erin, but you didn't tell us you were bringing depresso with your espresso.
Oh my god.
You started it with your whole, let's talk about reversed racism and reversed oppression. The big plot hole. Like, you want to talk about depresso espresso, my dude.
Anyways,
Okay.
so my point was basically everything Vicky did with her plot, she was trying to reverse the racism so that the oppressed were the oppressors. But she was so like gross about her descriptions and off base with the clear prejudices that she was writing about, that it just was clear that she is one racist piece of shit.
Didn't we have a comment that she said about where she lived and stuff? Like,
She lived. It wasn't a comment. It was on her website, on her publishing website. She was talking about
how she wasn't
how
racist?
she grew up in a 100% white area and didn't know any people of color.
So I guess that
and-
totally qualifies her to write this
Yeah.
book.
You know what would
No,
you know what I
I
would
think
want
it
to
was
read?
trying to like excuse her lapses in critical thinking while
I
writing
have a
this
book recommendation for you.
Oh shit! Tell me.
Well, an author recommendation, actually.
Okay. I have my pen. I'm ready.
So Octavia E. Butler is a pretty prolific, like science fiction fantasy author.
Octavia
and
E. Butler. Okay.
Octavia E. Butler. And her reviews on Audible are all 5 stars.
Yeah.
There's not a single 4, 3, whatever. They're all 5 stars. And the book that I'm reading of hers right now is called The Parable of the... I've only said this in my head. I don't know how to say it out loud. Sower.
How do you spell it?
Sewers. It's S-O-W-E-R.
S-O-W-E-R.
Sower,
I think
right?
sower.
Sower. Like...
You're sowing
sow
oats.
the-
You're sowing
Yeah.
seeds.
yeah.
The what's the book title again? Parable.
Let's
The-
see.
the-
Parable of the Sower.
Okay.
Oh my god, this just gave me fucking flashbacks to when I was in class and doing a presentation, and for some reason my brain could not figure out how to say the word refuge, because in my brain for some reason I was saying something other than
Like
refuge, but
refuge?
it was like a wildlife refuge. And I looked at the word, and I looked at my classmates, and I said, I don't know how to say this.
Refuge?
And I looked at it, and I went, refuge?
Oh my god.
And I was like, I got through it, and I was like, God fucking damn it, home. I can't believe I did that in front of everybody. Oh my god.
That's okay. One time,
Anyways.
Rachel, she was trying to say bass like the instrument, and she said bass.
Oh
in
yeah,
front
she
of
kept
her
saying
class.
bass.
I know, I was-
and it's like
I was in the class when she did
I
that.
know.
it's like, are you talking about the fish or are you talking about the instrument? Because I remember her coming to me afterwards and she's like, Erin, it's bass, right? And I'm like,
No.
I was like, are you talking about the fish or the instrument? Because it's bass for the instrument and bass for
Yeah.
a fish.
Well,
Oh,
And she's like,
honey.
they're spelled the
because-
same.
everybody
Yeah.
made fun of her
Yeah.
until Mr. Funk told them to stop.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
to
pretty
be fair,
bad.
the English language is a giant pile of confusing bullshit.
Read and red are spelled the exact same thing. They're spelled the same fucking way.
Oh,
Yeah.
I get so confused. It's no wonder I never was able to learn a second language.
Whenever I see the word hors d'oeuvres spelled, I cannot say it. I
I
forget.
can't tell the difference between Daniel and Danielle.
Michael and Michelle.
I can't tell that one either. I can't
Michelle
tell the
doesn't
difference.
have an A. It only has an ELLE.
Yeah,
It doesn't make a difference
doesn't matter
to me.
my brain,
I
Erin.
cannot tell the difference.
They're spelled
I'm
different.
reading a book. I'm reading a book with a character named Gabrielle,
Okay.
and every time I read Gabriel. There's something wrong with my brain.
No, I think it's just like how our brain sounds things out. Because if I see a word I've never heard of before and I've never used it, like, I don't know, it'll say, like, oh, this is how you say it. And then when I look it up, that's not how you even fucking say it.
Yeah.
Like hors d'oeuvres,
God.
hors d'oeuvres.
Hoarders.
I always, when I see it spelled, I always go hors divorce. And David's like, it's hors d'oeuvres.
I think for a long time I did the same exact
I
thing.
just forget how to say it whenever I see it spelled.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Anyways.
Anyway, so the book was pretty racist. I'm gonna touch on something real quick though.
do we just want to go into
Um,
our 3 concise points then, Hope?
No.
Okay.
So one thing was she did a phenomenal job fetishizing everybody
Yeah.
except white people.
Oh, yeah.
Like the entire book was just uncomfortable fetishization of entire races and ethnicities. It was bizarre. And I think people that's a very real issue
Yeah.
even right now, is the fetishization of people based on their skin color. Like, I think right now we've been talking a lot about how Asian women are fetishized quite a
Right.
bit in our culture and in our cinema and everything. And the same thing goes for basically any other POC group.
Yeah.
It seemed pretty obvious here that she wanted everybody to know that she was fetishizing them.
I don't really get the fetishization of other races. She was just strictly Dickly for Bramford. Like,
Yeah.
She fetishized Branford so fucking hard. It got,
Borderline bestiality.
but again, you
sister.
have to move past it because there is a much more glaring issue with this book.
Well,
It's still there.
I know.
You can't
I
move
just
past
assumed
it.
any other group she was also going to be fetishizing in some way. But since she didn't really deal with anyone other than black people
Yeah.
in the book,
Bam, bam.
it was them that she was fetishizing. Like first page, she started fetishizing, and she started by saying how ugly and plain Eden was because she was white, and then explaining why the Coles were so much more attractive. And so the entire thing was just like this weird fetishization of black individuals.
Yeah, kind of to add on to that, one of my things that I wrote down was I thought it was just fucking like the cherry on top for Vicky and her little story was that Eden is what is the norm of beauty standards. Like, I don't think anybody could argue with
Right now,
that.
you mean?
She's slender. She has like blue eyes, blonde hair. She's the norm of beauty standards these days.
Hitler would be very happy with her.
And then when she compared herself to the Coles, or specifically that one woman, what was her name?
Aisha?
I was
Aisha?
gonna say Ashland. Aisha,
No,
I think it was.
she
Or was it
she
not?
uses a pretty. I think we talked about this in the Corrupted episode where she just looked up people of color names and just
Yeah.
picked the top 5 on the list.
But Aisha, if that was her name, she basically, I kind of agree with Hope. She basically that is a hard word to
Yes,
say.
it is.
Fetishized
Fetishized.
African American features, which are arguably features that in some places don't get you the job.
Ashina.
Ashina.
That's her name.
Okay.
That's why
Ashina.
I was thinking Ashland for some reason.
Aisha is a great musical.
I've never heard.
Okay, I don't know.
But
I don't.
I'm gonna continue.
Sorry. Anyway.
I just thought it was like the cherry on top when she compared and I suppose that was probably the point of a stereotypical like norm of beauty standards against the stereotypical fetishized features of women of color. Like, I guess that was kind of her point, but it really hit wrong.
Well, it hits
for me.
wrong because black people are, as any group, they are not a monolithic society. They are not all the same. The African continent has lighter skinned Moroccan, Egyptian, people up in the north that might, to some people, look more Middle Eastern than what people generally think of as African. And then you can go all the way down the continent, and they have different cultures, they have different features, they have different skin colors. There's just so. Africa is a huge fucking continent, okay? Yeah. And she took
like 4 or 5 stereotypes.
Yeah, the stereotypes that we would see in America, and then made it the entire culture in her futuristic book. Yeah. So that's another thing that doesn't make sense, is that for some reason this entire continent with this beautifully colorful culture up and down is just kind of like boiled down to the most stereotypical archetypes that she could think of.
Yeah. Well,
So that makes zero sense, and I think speaks to her very
tone deaf.
small
Yeah.
world
The
view.
thing that really struck me was how I just did not feel sorry at all for Eden the entire time. Like,
Oh my god,
obviously
I know.
her personality was just the worst.
The worst.
But the other thing that really bothered me was if we were supposed to feel sorry for Eden because she's so oppressed, like, oh my god, I feel so bad for you. You are you're a skinny, long-legged, like, beautiful girl by any standards. And you're being oppressed. Like, wow, I do not feel bad for you. Like, you could,
Yeah,
she could have fucking, like, had a snaggletooth or something. Like, she made her perfect, is what I'm trying to get
and
at.
there's, I guess, like, I don't know. There's just so much wrong with, like, Eden's character growth. Like, her only arc was falling in love with Bramford, and that's because that's what the story called for. But, like, she didn't grow as a person, like, throughout the entire story. So she's, like, her racism kind of died down near the end. Like, the very, very end.
Like, chapter
Where-
29.
Yeah, but like she's with, so you know how sometimes they have these stories where like this white person gets like kidnapped by like a tribe of some kind in the world, and then that white person falls in love with like the culture, like they're learning the language and they're learning about the people, and they start to fall in love with that lifestyle, and then they soon become adopted into it. This doesn't happen at all in this book.
Yeah, she's just a bitch the entire time.
She's super judgmental about what they wear. She gets locked up in a hut overnight, and she gets really upset about it, but she escapes the next day and gets lost in the fucking Amazon, where she almost gets eaten by a giant fucking snake. It's like you're fucking useless as a character. Like, if you weren't in there, nothing would have changed.
Yeah.
Nothing would have been different.
Yeah.
So,
And the thing that I thought about too was that the stereotypes that people use to oppress people of color today were exactly the attributes that Vicky was giving to, like, Bramford, and I already forgot her name.
yeah.
Aisha?
Eden.
Ashina?
I
Ashina?
Ashina.
Like, she still gave them those negative stereotype. Yeah.
And then used it as a reason why
that
they were
makes
bad
sense. So-
people, basically.
I was
Yeah.
so, like, the whole time it's like, okay,
Crisscross.
but so Eden is terribly racist, and the characters that it didn't make sense.
I think it's especially harmful, like, now, because I think there's a lot of social upheaval right now.
Yeah.
Not that anyone's reading this book anytime soon.
Right.
But, like, the fetishization of different minorities is so prevalent in our society just in general.
Yeah.
Like, to kind of, like, explain how bad it is in the areas that I've been in, I myself, a white woman, have been fetishized just because men have seen a tiny glimmer, just a tiny little bit of melanin in my skin. So they'll call you, like, their Indian princess, or their Egyptian queen, or, any number of things. So, like, if my white ass can get those, like, subtle, but definitely fetishized comments, then it's a pretty big issue.
Yeah. And me being a white potato, I haven't had that happen to me. Because I don't think anybody fetishizes a potato. So
Erin, you're just Irish.
I'm all of the white
You're
countries
not a
in
potato,
Europe mashed
you're Irish.
together. Mostly Irish, a little Scottish, sometimes a little German.
It's really bizarre because
Yeah.
we live in a very white area, obviously.
Yeah.
So I think that white men specifically kind of cling to the little bit of color that they can see in people. So my entire life,
Yeah.
my significant others have made those comments about me,
Right.
like that I'm their Indian princess or like Egyptian god or goddess or whatever. And I never thought much of it because I was just like, you're so quirky. But I only thought about it recently how often white men mention it to me, how often it's been mentioned to me, and how them doing that is them oddly sexualizing me. It's weird.
I mean, they could just call you a goddess. They don't have to, like, put anything in front of it.
Yeah, you don't have to add that extra little bit.
Yeah,
right?
just tell me I'm a goddess. That's all you need to tell me.
Yeah.
Like, don't put, like, a culture in front of it. Or, like, a
Yeah,
country.
you don't have to. Especially since we were when when John
You just.
called me his Egyptian princess, I was like, motherfucker, I told you Moroccan. Like,
Is
but
that.
it didn't matter to him. He was just like, no, I'm gonna call you my Egyptian princess. I was like, I'm
It's
Moroccan.
like. You're like, it's not even the right country.
Like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really fucking weird. But that's Idaho for you. Like, I'm a fairly white person, and they'll still somehow figure out a way to do that.
You'll never just let me, like, I am very white. I'm pretty much translucent during the winter times. Like, I'm pretty sure you can see through me because I just
Can you say
don't.
this all in an Irish accent, please?
Let me try. I haven't used it in a while, so let me try.
Okay.
I'm so sorry for our listeners in Ireland. Please don't send me emails. I gotta get into the mindset. Give me just a second. It's been a long
Whenever I
fucking
think
time.
about an Irish, somebody trying to do an Irish accent, I think of Conan O'Brien. He's like, "Oh, let me get my lucky charms."
Yeah.
So, I'm a white potato. During the winter times, I'm very translucent.
Very
You
good.
can see right through me because I don't go outside. Is that good enough for you too?
It's fine. It's fine.
I don't want to hear any emails. I was bullied.
Also, we only kind of touched on it, but like I think one of the other reasons why this book just didn't work at all was because she made the weird race hierarchy, and
Yeah.
it clearly showed that she has a hierarchy in her mind. That she's seen in culture and around her that she has internalized, and it's the you have your most oppressed, I guess, or I guess in her mind the least good would be the Coles, black people. She thinks that they're bottom of the barrel, and then there's what do they call them? Ambers, right?
Yeah. Wait, are you talking about the Asian characters? Or are you talking about the Latina
Wait,
characters?
no, it would be the Latin
Tiger Eyes.
Tiger Eyes is the second worst in her mind, according to her hierarchy. And then
Asian.
Asian Ambers are like
Yes.
the least bad, I guess.
They're
And then
they're above pearls, but then next is pearls, and then the very last, the ones that she deems the best race, is the albinos.
I think, personally, I think the albinos were an afterthought for her.
No.
Albinoism,
It's
it's
a
not a
mutation.
race.
Yeah,
It's a genetic. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just
So I don't
hated
know where
that
that
she
came
called
from.
them cottons. I was like, of all the fucking things of historical significance, you had to use the most
She-
racist
Yeah.
thing.
She couldn't think of anything whiter than pearls because she can't use fucking
so that was
toilet
the other thing I
paper.
noticed,
you know?
So the terms she was using were all like gemstones, basically. No, so
Is coal a gemstone?
it's like
but that's what I mean. Like, so pearl. I guess I kind
Oh.
of tried to touch on this, but I didn't really talk about it very well. So pearl isn't a bad or derogatory term. It's like a gemstone. Like, you pay a lot of money. They're highly sought after. But for some reason, it's a derogatory term for a white person. That makes no sense. So, and then coal. I was
Oh.
sitting there and I was like, you put coal in a bad kid's stocking. Like, why? Just so, like, the significance behind the actual names just really threw me off. I was like, that makes no sense. That makes no sense. So you're fucking pearl, which is
You know what? Sorry, go
something
ahead.
that some people pay a lot of money for to get really nice pearls that are beautiful and whatever. That is what a white person is. And then cotton is basically what I have to say about that. Everything was nonsensical in this book.
Yeah.
So are you ready to
Sweet.
give our overall impression of the book?
Yeah.
I hated it. It's a racist piece of trash. And I want to burn it, but I'm not going to. I'm going to throw it in the garbage.
She thought she did something. It kind of seems
She
that
thought
way,
she
but
solved racism.
It wasn't for
Yeah, she
a
really
POC
did.
audience,
Yeah.
anyways. It was for strictly white people. Yeah, also
Absolutely
hated
not.
it. It was actually
Yeah.
I was enraged at some points. So, yeah. Hip.
Yeah. I thought that if we just boil it down to like the basic points of why this book is bad, there's no character development. The plot has way too many holes in it to count, and it's racist as shit.
Okay, so that was your 3 concise points on why you didn't like the book.
Yes.
And I think we all share the same the same
Yes.
thoughts and feelings as Hope with that. Do you guys have
kinda
your
remember
quotes
them. I don't have the
from
book
last
with
time?
me.
Or
No.
oh well, maybe
Why
we
don't
can.
instead of quotes, why don't we just go over our favorite descriptions she used
call
to
nut.
describe black people's skin color?
I
Juniper going straight for the nut. All right.
Okay.
Juniper,
I guess I'll
you go
for raisin.
first. Oh my! I can't think of any other ones.
No, because that
Does she ever use the word
that
alabaster?
would make too much sense.
Is that
She probably used like
Oh.
like goose white or something. Sorry, seagull white.
She did not use goose white.
Okay, sorry, seagull.
I don't want to be
poop
seagull white.
So
I don't wanna be that
my
either.
favorite descriptor was when she said the native people of the tribe she was staying with, that Eden was staying with, was nut brown.
And I'm gonna ask the same
What type of
question
nut?
I asked last time when we recorded this. What nut?
Oh my
what
God.
type of nut
Yeah.
was she describing? There's macadamia
Almonds.
nut.
There's
the
cashews.
peanut nut.
There's
the. What about what's
Yeah,
the
I
really
think
big
so.
chunky
Brazil nut?
one? Is that called a Brazilian nut?
yeah.
I think it's a Brazil nut.
If I had
Brazil
to,
nut.
I mean, they're all kind of brown.
well,
or
you
not
gotta
brown,
peel
but
off
kind
the
of white.
skin to
There's
get to the
there's
white
like
stuff.
almond.
Because
There's the walnut. There's a lot of different nuts
Does
out
she
there.
mean like the
does
hard
she mean
part
like a
of the
walnut,
nut
like
before
the
you get to the
outside
nut, maybe?
hard, crusty bit? Yeah.
Well, it has the
But you,
brown
like, peel
skin on the nut itself.
Yeah, you
Is she
do
talking
on-
about a walnut?
You do want
You don't peel that
You do
off.
on,
You don't peel the skin off the
peanuts.
walnut.
No, you don't.
and there's the skin on, and then
Yeah,
and
you
then
break the
also
shell. You don't.
macadamia nuts
Oh,
have a
yeah, you do
film.
take the skin.
But you don't do that to walnuts.
No, you don't do that with
Yeah, but
walnuts.
you don't do that to anything other than peanuts.
Yeah.
And peanuts are just legumes, aren't they? Do they count?
Aren't all nuts just legumes with dreams? I don't know.
No.
Okay.
Tired
They're
today.
Anywho,
Nuts with
They
dreams.
grow on trees, Aaron.
No, peanuts grow underground.
I know, that's what makes
I
them a
thought
legume.
legumes. I thought
What?
Nuts
but
grow on
legumes-
trees.
But legumes.
Peanuts-
Then why are they called peanuts?
It's a misnomer.
You guys, we have to solve this problem right now because now it's driving me nuts. We can't solve racism, but we can solve the peanut legume controversy.
No, it's not a I'm right. It's not a controversy.
But why, if it's a legume, why is it a
According to the
peanut?
Peanut Institute, botanically peanuts are legumes. The Peanut Institute says it's because peanuts
But
grow
why are they called
underground and
peanuts?
other nuts like walnuts and almonds grow on trees. Peanuts, beans, and peas are considered legumes because they're edible seeds enclosed in pods, according
why are
to
they
the
nuts?
Peanut Institute.
So, anyways, exactly what I just said.
I just want to know why peanuts are called nuts when they're
Just
legumes.
'cause it's just
That's the
'cause
controversy
they're-
I'm talking about.
Why is a tiger shark called a tiger shark? No, I don't think. I'm pretty sure they don't.
Because it has stripes.
Do they?
They don't.
There's stripes.
I
We are the
Tiger
dumbest
shark.
motherfuckers.
Right.
I have never said I was smart.
They have vertical stripes.
They do. They have stripes on the side that make them.
Okay,
yeah,
but-
they fucking do. Bam.
but
That's why
they
they're
don't
called
look like
tiger
tiger
sharks.
stripes at
Juniper, you butt.
So, by that logic, it's because peanuts look like nuts. That's why.
I'll accept it.
Thank you. Anyways, my description is when Vicky described was it Eden's panther buddy?
She was looking at Bramford. Yeah.
Yeah, so she described Bramford's face as raisin.
Kind of sticky,
brown.
sickly sweet.
Oh, Erin. Oh,
Ew. What?
yours.
Oh my God.
So your description. I remember one. Remember
What?
how I think it was the same description for Bramford, but she described Bramford as his face as being the color of thunder clouds or something.
Oh, right, where she's like, he looks like thunderclouds, and it's
Yeah.
like if he looks like
No,
thunderclouds,
He looks
they're
sick.
not black, they're gray.
Yeah.
And if you're gray,
Sir,
you need to go to the
are you
fucking ER because
psychotic?
something's
Do
wrong
you
with
need
you.
oxygen?
He's going into cardiac
Sir.
arrest.
Do you have extreme chest pain right now? Are you about to have a heart attack? Sir?
He's just in the ER and he's just screaming because of the experiment.
And-
Ah!
Eden's just sitting there, just like creaming her pants over his
Ew!
fucking face.
Ew! Ew! Oh gosh, she
Yeah.
does that enough in this book. It's like disgusting. It's like a.
She's
It's
just
like a-
he-
It's like eating a gusher.
he's having a heart attack.
Yeah.
He's having a heart attack and his face is gray. Sploosh. Sploosh.
Oh my god. Oh, I forgot it. That's a good one.
What a
Thank you for
panty
reminding
dropper.
mine, Hope.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Nah, bruh.
So, do we recommend this book?
That's a negative
No.
That's a Texas size.
That's gonna be a no for
buddy.
me.
Ghostwriter. Not your buddy, pal.
Not your pal,
Deserves
man.
less.
Does this book deserve the rating it got?
Look, she wasn't even a good writer.
Deserves a
Like-
It
negative.
definitely has
It
a
does
higher
exist.
publishing
rating.
the- The publishing company
She was not.
used was her own company. Like, of course it was gonna get published, and there were actual like edits that I saw in it that they didn't catch, different typos and shit. I can't even
Yeah.
give her credit for like getting a book published.
Nope, it shouldn't have been published in the first place.
And it-
Which is why she probably had to make her own publishing house.
It sucks because Sand Dollar Publishing, I fucking love that name. And it belongs
good
to
publisher's
a
name.
racist.
Yeah, it does. Okay, we have come to the end of this episode. Are there any final thoughts before we
I have
end?
one. A message
Vicky
to
dear.
Victoria Foyt.
Oh
Fuck
boy.
you.
Yeah.
Next time, keep it to your fucking self.
Yeah, your weird fucking fantasies. Not everything needs to be written down. Sometimes you just keep that in drafts, you know?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe don't write it at all. Keep it in your head and just play it over and over for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way only you know you're racist and no one else does.
Yep.
Okay, so the next book we'll be reading is called Handbook for Mortals by Lainey Sarim. Sarim. So I guess that's
Yeah.
it.
See you
I
later.
guess
Hi.
we'll talk to you
Ireland.
guys next time. Good. Hi. I'm so sorry, Ireland.
Just go drown your sorrows in the pot of gold
Don't.
over by that rainbow.
Isn't that racist?
No.
I'm sorry, is that prejudiced? Hey, Irish people have been
There's a
oppressed.
whole fucking
There's a whole
chapter in
freaking movie about it.
history about it.
Called The
not
New
just a
York
movie.
Gangsters. Right, but you know. So I'm gonna guess this is our last episode because we're probably gonna get canceled.
We're gonna get canceled by the leprechauns? Is that what you're saying?
Bye.
Okay, I'm in. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to Who Wrote This Shit. Our cover art is done by our very own Juniper Harvey Morose. Intro and outro music by Riley Tennyson. Editing by Aaron Poole and Hope Harvey Morose. You can follow us on Instagram under Girls Book 3. If you have book recommendations, please feel free to email us at girlsbook3@gmail.com. If you like the show, please rate, review, and share it. Episodes will also be uploaded to our website.